are back to break down all the amazing comic comparisons from The Walking Dead Season 10, Episode 6. Surprisingly, the Elder Gods must have recognized my goat sacrifice because this episode was nearly identical to the comics. I couldn't believe it, and the goat's super dead. Anyways, from Negan's orientation to Eugene's pen pal, this episode had it all. I'm Woody Tondorf, and this is Panel to Screen. Let's start with Negan's initiation into the Whisperers. In the show, Negan gets taken to the Whisperer camp where Alpha decides he can prove himself through various montage tasks. Beta argues with her and she reminds him who the real Alpha is, so he bends the knee and apologizes. To Beta's chagrin, Negan aces the test and returns victorious after being left for dead in the woods. Impressed and a little turned on, Alpha gives him the shushing symbol of approval while Beta harumphs in the background. The same events mostly play out in the comics. In issue 154, Negan meets Beta and asks to become one of them. Similar to the show, Beta tells Negan to fuck off and tells Alpha they should kill him instead, but she makes him bend the knee and apologize. In issue 156, Negan aces all his tasks, killing boars, skinning walkers, and feeding horses. You know, villain shit. A big difference here is right before the trials in the comics, Beta gets attacked by Michonne, Aaron, and Dwight, who are searching for Negan. Beta stabs Aaron and somehow escapes. Don't worry, Aaron survives, settle down. Also, at this point in the comics, Negan had very lengthy and colorful conversations with Alpha. She even invites him to eat with her. That's a big difference from the episode, so here's hoping Negan will build to that. The boar looks tasty. Now on to Eugene, aka Taterbug, who in this episode made contact with a mysterious woman on the radio. After sharing a night-long heart-to-heart and I assume some recipes, the stranger reveals she's from Strasburg, Pennsylvania, and currently lives in a survival group. Still, she's smart enough to know the risks of their conversation and warns that she'll ghost completely if she hears anyone else on Eugene's end. These scenes came almost verbatim from Robert Kirkman's comics. In issue 152, Eugene similarly makes contact with a friendly woman over the radio, who also sets ground rules on personal details and outsiders. The only real difference here is the woman's Pennsylvania backstory that's unique to the show. Sidebar, Strasburg, Pennsylvania has a population of 3,000. Thanks, Wikipedia. So why is any of this important? Shut up, I'll tell you. In the comics, we soon learn this woman's name is Stephanie, and she's part of a massive community in Ohio called the Commonwealth. And hey, that's where most of the post-Whisperer story arc takes place. Stephanie eventually convinces Eugene to meet her people at a train yard near her community to prove their trust. Although the show could go a different way than the comics, it often does, the similarities are way too close on this one. Plus, maybe Georgie is Pamela, then Maggie was a Commonwealth the whole time. Who knows? The showrunners, I hope. Otherwise, this is just the final season of Game of Thrones. And that wraps up Panel to Screen for The Walking Dead episode 1006. As we covered at the beginning of the episode, a lot of this actually did come from the comics, and there were only a couple that didn't, like the ones involving Daryl and Carol, and Sadiq and Dante. See? Just two. Amazing!
I'm kind of amazing.
Also, at this point in the comics, Ezekiel, Carol, Judith, Luke, and Rosita were dead, while Daryl, Sweet Jerry, Alden, Gamma, RJ, Dog, Cindy, Rachel, Jules, and #Baby Coco did not exist. Also, Rick, Carl, Dwight, Maggie, Eleven, Andrea, Sophia, and Jesus were still around. I'm Woody Tondorf. Make sure to subscribe to our Walking Dead podcast, Talk Dead to Me. We had Emily Kinney on this week. She was great. Like and subscribe to Skybound, and we'll see you next week.